Today, I'll walk you through 5 actionable strategies that will improve the conversion rate of your e-commerce site. You'll learn one crucial strategy for each section of your site: the homepage, category pages, search result pages, product pages, and checkout pages. I'm Mogens Møller, I'm CEO and co-founder of Sleeknote. And if you want to improve the conversion rate of your online store, this video is for you. Over the last few months, I've been doing more than 240 usability tests, including eye tracking on the biggest online stores in the world, both on desktop and mobile. This means that I've seen with my own eyes what works and what doesn't work for these big e-commerce sites. And today, I'll share them with you. In this video, you will learn how to give your visitors a good first impression of your homepage. You'll learn what the most crucial thing is to optimize on your category pages. You will learn what asos.com is doing on their search page that caused many deep and frustrating sighs and what you can do to avoid it. You will also learn about a golden moment where visitors actually are ready to buy related products. And finally, you will learn what information everyone in my usability test ask for on the basket page. Let's kick it off with tip number 1. Use a big hero image to create a great first impression. Back in the days, almost all visitors would start their journey on your homepage. Today, it's a very different story. Still, your homepage is probably one of the most visited pages on your website, if not the most visited one. And still, many visitors actually begin their buying journey on your homepage. This means that your homepage can either leave new visitors with a good first impression or a bad one. Visitors that have a good first impression of you will likely stay on your website, browse through your product pages and find items that they like and ultimately make a purchase. In my usability tests, the websites that left a great first impression had one thing in common. They all had a big image at the top of their homepages, a so-called hero image. This image typically contained a picture of some products or information about a current campaign and a clear call to action. Users liked these websites with big hero images because it kept the total number of elements on the homepage to a minimum, at least before they began to scroll. So if you want to make a good first impression with your homepage, consider using a big and simple hero image, both on desktop and mobile. But be warned. In my usability test, most users hated it when the hero image was an image carousel that started rotating automatically. While this was not a problem on desktop, it caused a lot of frustration on mobile. So on mobile, make sure your big hero image is not moving or rotating. Now it's time for our second tip. There's a lot of things you can do to optimize your category pages, both big substantial structural changes and several small improvements you can test out. You can learn about these in my video about optimizing category pages. But in all my usability tests, there was one huge thing that stood out. It's something that even the biggest online stores struggle with: the filters, and especially filters on mobile. Therefore, my second tip is: always test your filtering UX. Many big stores provide a decent experience when you use their filters on desktop, but on mobile it's a completely different story. I believe the main reason is that those websites were originally designed for desktop. When all websites suddenly had to be mobile optimized years ago, most people kept the desktop mindset and thought, how can we get these filters to work on mobile as they do on desktop? In this transition, a lot of choices were made. Choices where resources, money, and how e-commerce systems were built played an important role. Because it's certainly not cheap to rework all your filtering structure just because they have to work perfectly on mobile. So what's wrong with many of these mobile filters? Well, a lot of things. For example, look here where I'm supposed to scroll in the different filter options, but instead I scroll in the products in the background.
Oh no!
There are so many potential traps here, so this strategy is not to do it exactly this way or that way. But my takeaway for you is to test thoroughly how your filters work with real people. not your colleagues. Not your colleagues or your family, but people that have no interest in you or your business. This is the only way to make sure your mobile filters are working properly. With that, it's time for tip number 3. If I can only give you one piece of advice about the search result pages from all my usability tests, it is to keep this in the back of your mind. Almost everyone is using Google. Turn this to your advantage. According to statcounter.com, Google's worldwide market share is 92%. So when users search for something online, they are used to the way Google works. Instead of trying to reinvent everything about search, use this fact to your advantage. Of course, Google Search is not an online store yet. Because of that, it doesn't make sense to show or do everything as Google does. But they have some best practices you can reuse. For example, make it possible to easily change the search phrase when users search on your website. This may sound like the most basic piece of advice, and honestly, it should be common sense. But certainly it isn't the case for all online stores. For example, on asos.com, when users search for sneakers, they got a search result and then decided that they wanted to see black sneakers. Now they wanted to change the search phrase to black sneakers. The most logical way for the users to change this was to click on the search phrase. But when they did this, nothing happened. Then they tried to click at the search icon again and hoped to add black to their search phrase. But unfortunately, they now had to start over and rewrite the whole search. It might seem like a small thing to do, but after using the search engine a few times, users simply left the website and decided to shop somewhere else because of the bad search experience. So how can we fix this? Take a look at Walmart. Users love their search engine for several reasons, but mainly because they could change the search phrase quickly and easily. In this case, the user searched for Samsung, got all kinds of Samsung products, and then decided to change the search phrase to Samsung phone. Easy, intuitive, and logical, just like Google. Now we're taking a step further down your website and we are reaching the product page. It's time for our 4th tip. There is one golden opportunity to focus on upsell. The moment a visitor adds a product to their basket. In my usability test, I've seen countless attempts to upsell and cross-sell different products to the users. And I understand why. Adding a few extra percent to the average order size can make a big difference in your revenue. Unfortunately, most of these up and cross-sell attempts are pretty ineffective, at least according to the tests that I've done. You might think this is probably because of irrelevant product recommendations. This was true in some cases, but it wasn't the main reason. The real reason was the timing and the position, meaning when and where the related products were presented and not so much which product were recommended. Many online stores showed up and cross-sell options directly on their product pages, either at the bottom below the product description or in the right column next to the product description and the Add to Basket button. But a few online stores showed these up and cross-sell options at the moment when the user added a product to their basket. Bingo! The online stores that followed this practice up and cross-sold much more than those who didn't. I'm not saying you shouldn't show related products on your product pages, but consider showing these up and cross-sell options at this golden moment too. Now let's jump to the last step of the buying process, the checkout flow. This is tip number 5. It's something even the biggest online stores are struggling with. And if you get this wrong, you send your visitors directly in the arms of your competitors. Delivery time, delivery price, and available delivery methods must be visible on the basket page. There are very few things that can annoy and frustrate users more than missing information about delivery time and delivery price. Forcing visitors to log in during checkout may be a close second. Unfortunately, not all e-commerce websites take this seriously. Not even the largest websites in the world. Unless there are some technical issues you can't possibly fix, there is no reason to hide this important piece of information. Every user on your website wants to know the final amount they'll pay and when their items will be delivered, and preferable as soon as possible. This also means that your delivery, return and refund terms should be visible on your website navigation and all relevant pages, such as your homepage, product pages, and more importantly, throughout your checkout flow. So these were the 5 main takeaways from my usability tests. Can you guess what the 6th one was? Users hate intrusive pop-ups. So if you want to convert your visitors without disturbing the user experience, head over to sleeknote.com and start a free trial. Also, if you want us to do usability tests and do eye tracking on your online store or benchmark it against these big websites that I've tested, just send me an email on mm@sleeknote.com. Now I want to turn it over to you. Which of the e-commerce tips from this video are you gonna use first? Are you gonna use a big hero image to create a great first impression? Are you gonna test your filtering UX? Are you gonna optimize your search result page with the best practices from Google? Are you gonna use the golden opportunity to focus on upsell when a visitor adds a product to their basket? Or are you gonna highlight information about delivery time, delivery price, and available delivery methods on the basket page? Let me know by leaving a comment below right now. They all had a big image. Now it's tip for our search phrase when your users losers. Can you guess which? Can you or can me or can no one in the world understand what I'm saying?